Hi, I'm Lisa. English articles a, un, and the can be so confusing. Why do we sometimes say a company and sometimes we don't use a and we just say company? And do you know the difference in meaning between a number of and the number of? And why do we sometimes say I'd like water with no a, but then we hear native speakers say I'd like a water? Some of these rules can be confusing even for the most advanced English learners. You probably know some common rules of when to use a and when not to use it. In this video, you will learn some rules that you may not be familiar with. First, let's quickly review some basic rules of using the articles a and un that you probably already know. We use a with singular countable nouns. For example, I have a car. I called a friend. I ate an apple. We use un because apple begins with a vowel sound. You probably know that, right? But make sure that you don't pause after the article un. That n is there so that you can smoothly go from one sound to another. Otherwise, it would sound like this, apple. An apple sounds smoother and it's easier to say. Car, friend, and apple are countable nouns. We can count them. We can have 2 cars, 10 friends, 5 apples, and so on. However, we don't say, I need a milk. We don't say, I ate a beef. And we don't say, I bought an equipment, because milk, beef, and equipment are uncountable nouns. So remember, when a noun is uncountable, we don't use a and un, and we cannot add an s to the noun. It's incorrect to say milks, beefs, and equipments. But why do we sometimes hear native speakers say, I bought a milk? Or they might say, I bought 2 milks with an s if milk is uncountable. When people say that, they are referring to a container of milk. For example, a carton of milk or a gallon of milk. So it's a shortcut, a faster way of speaking. The person that's speaking understands that you know what they mean. They either mean a carton or a gallon or some other kind of container. Let's look at another example of when we use a and when we don't use it. Why do we sometimes say hair and sometimes we say a hair? Is hair countable or is it uncountable? It depends. It can be both. It depends on what you're talking about. If we are talking about a person's hair, it's not realistic to count it. We would say she has long hair or she has beautiful hair. It's impossible to count all of those strands of hair. So it would be incorrect to say she has a beautiful hair. So hair usually functions as an uncountable noun, but sometimes we can say a hair or even hairs. In some cases, hair can be a countable noun. For example, there are some hairs in the brush. This is referring to the strands of hair, and this is a strand of hair. We can say, I found a hair in my food, just one strand of hair. Or we can say, she has a few gray hairs. You can actually count the gray hairs. But if someone has a lot of gray hair, we would say she has gray hair. We would not say she has a gray hair. In this case, hair becomes an uncountable noun and we cannot use a. We can't count it. Let's look at another noun that has a countable and an uncountable form. Let's look at chicken versus a chicken. What is the difference between these two sentences? I baked chicken. I baked a chicken. When we are talking about the meat, we would say chicken without a. I had chicken for lunch. I like to eat chicken, but I can say I baked a chicken. In that case, it means one whole chicken. In that case, it's a countable noun, and we can add an s. I baked 2 chickens. There are some chickens in the yard, but I ordered chicken at the restaurant. I ate chicken. And you can also add the word some to uncountable nouns. I bought some chicken. I bought some milk, and so on. And now let's look at some words that have a completely different meaning when we add the article a. Let's look at company versus a company. What is the difference between I have company and I have a company? Let's look at the first one, company. I can't talk right now. I have company, and that means I have people visiting me at my house. So company means being with other people, spending time with people, companionship, or socializing. I can say, I really enjoy your company, and that means I like spending time with you. And a very common sentence is, we're having company for dinner. And that means we are having guests. We are having visitors coming to our house for dinner. We are having company. But when we add a to a company, that means a business, an organization. He works for a company. He started a company. So I have company means I have guests or visitors in my house. I have a company means that I'm the owner of a business. Okay, let's look at some more rules. What is the difference between a number of versus the number of? One little article changes the meaning. If we say a number of, that means several or many. It's an unspecified amount. But the number of, that's a specific amount. A number of is followed by a plural verb. For example, we can say, a number of students were. A number of people are. A number of customers have complained. We wouldn't say has complained. A number of customers have complained. And the number of is followed by a singular verb. The number of people is 20. The number of students has increased. We're using has, not have, because with the number of, we use a singular verb. The number of people who attended was 100. Let's look at both of them again. A number of people have applied for the job. The number of people we need to hire is 10. A number of employees are home sick, and that means several or many. The number of employees absent from work was 7. In this case, we specify the number, but because we said the number of, we use singular. We say was, not were. A number of people are going to the concert tonight. We use are with a number. The number of people in the room is 10. We use the and we use in, the singular form of the verb to be. Okay, let's look at one more rule. Do you know the difference between iron and uniron? Iron is a kind of metal, and uniron is an electric device used to press and to smooth clothing. This is iron, this is uniron. My pots and pans are made of iron. No, it's not a countable noun. I need an iron to iron my clothes. That's a countable noun. Let's review countable and uncountable nouns just a little bit more. Water is uncountable. But then why do we sometimes hear people say, I would like a water? They mean a bottle of water, a container. Containers are countable. I would like a bottle of water. Give me a water. Or I would like 2 waters. But we would not say, I drink a water. Let's look at this one. He likes beer. He'd like a beer. In the second meaning, it's a bottle of beer or a glass of beer. We're talking about the containers. Same thing for coffee. I like coffee. But if you go to a restaurant, you would say, I'd like a coffee, because the waiter understands that you mean a cup of coffee. You don't necessarily have to say, I would like a cup of coffee, please. It's enough to simply say, I would like a coffee. How about if I say, I would like a sugar? Sugar is not countable, but when people say that, they're referring to a packet of sugar or a cube of sugar. So you might hear people saying, please give me a sugar, or please give me 2 sugars. They're making it countable because they're talking about the packet or they're talking about the cube, which you can count. English articles are crazy. I hope this video helps you understand them a little bit better. Thanks for watching and keep practicing your English. take your English to the final level of fluency with my online courses. The American Accent course, the 400 Advanced Words You Must Know for Fluent English course, and the Phrasal Verbs for Fluent English course. Go to AccurateEnglish.com.